In a world that is constantly bombarding us with endless options and distractions, the concept of less is more has never been more relevant. As we approach 2024, it is important to adopt this mentality and focus on what truly matters. This means decluttering our lives, both physically and mentally, and prioritizing the things that bring us genuine joy and fulfillment. By simply our lives and cutting out the excess, we can create more space for the things that truly matter. So, simplifying is the best way to go, whether it's spending quality time with loved ones or pursuing our passions. And I want to welcome you to today's first live broadcast in 2024. And we're going to make sure that we do one of these each week. And it's going to be every Wednesday on the new schedule, which I'll discuss. And before we get into that,
please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo.
hello and welcome to another episode of the Network of Awareness, where we pursue knowledge to expose toxic conditioning, propaganda, and global lies, inspiring you to gain critical thinking for a meaningful reality rooted in universal truths and empowering awareness. I'm your host, ORRA the Informationalist, and in today's Less is More episode, we're going to delve deep into the concept that seems to become more pertinent with each passing day: the timeless wisdom of less is more. So, as we're going to navigate through this world filled with constant barrage of options and distractions, we need to simplify our lives. And it's more important to do it right now because it's never been more pressing than it is present day in 2024. So in this episode, I'm going to explore some of the significance of adopting the less is more mentality as we stand on the year, supposedly, as we're being told, of the 2024. So we're going to discuss the importance of decluttering our physical and mental spaces and how to prioritize what truly matters. And that's going to lead to a more fulfilling and purpose-driven life. So I want to welcome you again to the Network of Awareness. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
So welcome to this live show, first one in 2024. And like I mentioned, just a brief update before we even get started on this episode is that if you're getting to tune into this live episode, I want to thank you. But I did have some pre-recorded episode planned today, but I decided to go live so I can just give an update before the year goes any further in this month of January. And that is that because I'm following the mentality of less is more and starting to operate in that mentality for the year of 2024, which I didn't get to do in 2023, only a little bit, and then I completely fell off course of that. But it's to do less so that I could gain more. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing less of is weekly episodes. So instead of doing 4 or 5 or even sometimes 6 like we used to do, we're going to keep it down to 3 episodes a week. And that's going to be Monday and Tuesday being your pre-recorded episodes most of the time. And then Wednesdays will always be a live episode unless something comes up, and then you'll just always get a pre-recorded episode for that day. So now, new schedule, people, for all of my Network of Awareness, new listeners that are following the show. Please support us by following us on Spreaker, so that way you can get these live episodes like we're doing right now. And of course, if you don't get the live episode and you listen to it on any other platforms, you'll get it after the fact. But it's good to have both because sometimes the live episodes get live, and it's better to have the experience in the present moment. It's one of the things I like about live episodes. So Mondays to Wednesdays moving forward. And we'll keep it on that schedule. And then we're going to reintroduce Passion Pursues Purpose and relaunch that podcast. So we have more time to contribute to both. So with that being said, people, I want to thank you again for if you've joined this live episode on Spreaker. And always the links will be in the description box if you want to follow us on Spreaker to catch these live episodes. So let's get to the topic at hand. I'm not going to keep you too long. And that's less is more. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because I think that it's a lot of what people are doing and starting to realize in this great awakening. And I'm going to talk about that because people are starting to realize, and it's ever since the past couple of years, right? Especially when we've had time to spend alone, like I've discussed in the past with several guests and on solo casts, about having time to ourselves and some of the things that we've awakened to and come to realize by having some more solitude and introspection. And one of those things is that less is more, because you don't have to do too much to gain a whole lot. It's about doing the right things and the things that truly matter that's going to bring you the most fulfillment, contentment, joy, happiness, success, so many different things. This mentality has been such a big lie because it's more of a slave mentality. And I'm talking about that slave mentality where it's like you gotta grind it out and work hard all the time to gain major success. And there is a focus to doing something, but it doesn't have to be excess. There has to be balance. And that's why less is more provides the proper balance to contributing the right amount of energy to the things that you want out of life and want to be doing and want to experience overall. So as we navigate through this world filled with a constant barrage of options and distractions, we need to simplify our lives, right? So the first thing I want to talk about for us to have that fulfilling, purpose-driven life is the overwhelming landscape of these different choices. And that's what the world is good for, especially the United Shenanigans of America, right? When it comes to propaganda and it comes to predictive programming and it comes to consumerism, they want you to have all these different options and they want you to just do a lot and expect a lot. And a lot of times when you try to put too much on your plate, what happens? You wind up not finishing your meal and you wind up wasting food. So our modern world is right now, at its current state, a big playground of different options. And some of those options are positive and some of them are negative. But you have from the mundane decisions of what to wear and what to eat, the significance of adopting the less is more mentality in 2024 is important because that significance shapes our careers and relationships, and the sheer volume of options can be overwhelming. So we live in a society where the pursuit of more is often celebrated wherever we go. And the concept of less is more becomes a radical departure from the status quo mentality. And of course, you know that the powers that shouldn't be don't like that. But now that we're in 2024, right? What's today's date? Today is January 8th. And shout outs to all the people in the Tampa Bay area that support the Network of Awareness. Greatly appreciate your support. And I'm going to give shout outs to all the different people that listen from around the world. And we're going to do that a little bit later like we normally do on our live broadcast. So, as I was mentioning, that we have this approach to less is more. And this approach it doesn't go with the status quo. So, it definitely separates you from the norm. But it's crucial to acknowledge the impact of this because in 2024, we have a lot of decision fatigue. And the constant need to choose from an endless array of possibilities can leave us mentally exhausted from this type of experience. And what we need to understand is that, excuse me, let me get some water here. Is that this concept of less is more is almost necessary in the age that we're in right now. We're in the age of information. We're in that microwave age where a lot of the newer generations want everything very quick. Things are changing economically, socially. And when it comes to socially, things are constantly changing almost on a day-to-day basis. That's why I like to discuss society and culture as a podcast as well, besides the social sciences. But our modern world is definitely a playground of options, isn't it? So many damn choices. And because it's celebrated, because it's a condition, it's a social conditioning to the culture, we have to understand that having a bunch of possibilities leaves people tired. And it robs us of that energy needed to focus on what truly matters, because we're constantly focusing on the next thing that doesn't. And that's why a lot of us become unfulfilled what we're doing throughout the day. And that's why we're always looking at our watches, waiting for the time to punch out or to exit or to get off of your job or whatever job you don't like. And then you wind up doing something else that you have very little time, that even if it's something you love to do, you have very little time to do it until you got to do it all over again and go back to where you don't want to be. And this is why less is more is the way to be for 2024. To get rid of a lot of those experiences. So what's the mental clutter that I talked about? Decluttering the mental clutter. Let's go into that. Beyond the external world of choices lies the internal realm of our minds. Now, the digital age has brought with it an unprecedented influx of information that stimulates on levels that are very significant. I mean, the dopamine drives are off the meat racks these days. Our minds are constantly bombarded with notifications, news updates. I get these news updates, and I feel like turning this damn app that I have. I have an app that gives me current news segments that come out from different publications. And I thought that was a good thing to have, but they are sending me stuff every 30 minutes sometimes throughout the day. And I'm hearing the beep. And now that I'm talking about it, I should turn that off and just put it on silent and then look at whatever I want to look at when I'm ready. But that bombardment of news updates, social media feeds, it all creates a mental clutter. And that can be detrimental to our well-being because we're not really living in the present moment, because the present moment is constantly being disrupted. So when you're adopting less is more mentality, what happens is we confront the necessity of decluttering our minds. This involves setting boundaries. This involves learning to say no to people that try to constantly take your energy, and cultivating moments of stillness. That's why in the artwork, if you're looking at the artwork on this live feed, you see the guy that's just chilling, relaxing, meditating with some light, getting some introspection time, some inner standing time. And I want to discuss that, is that meditation is like oxygen for a lot of people. You have to have it in the very narcissistic world that is ever so fastly growing to become very empathetic. And that's why you hear all the time that nobody gives a crap about you. The world don't give a crap about you. And maybe there is some truth to it, but it's all based on perception. I think the world does give a crap about us. I think that people don't give a crap about themselves. I think that's the reality of things, especially when it comes to lacking empathy, because not only do you not care about yourself, but how can you even care about others when you don't even care about yourself? And that's the world that we're in right now. But the Great Awakening is slowly but surely dispelling that, one person at a time. And there's a lot of people that are coming to an understanding of who they truly are and what they really want to experience, and not gravitating to everything that they're being told without questioning it. And though you still have people still stuck in that robot consciousness, slowly but surely, like in the movie of The Matrix, one person at a time gets saved from the Matrix or freed from the Matrix. And it's no different in modern society. It's happening present day. And that's why less is more is a great way to biohack, so to speak, on how to get through this year with all of the distraction. And I mean, there is going to be a boatload of distraction coming at us, people. And it's already started. So let's confront the decluttering. And let's also focus on meditation, because cultivating those moments of stillness, it creates space for clarity. It creates space for creativity and genuine introspection. And when you're doing that on a constant basis and giving time and effort to that, that's going to open up even more clarity, even more creativity. And the genuine introspection is going to allow you to personally develop and know what to do and the steps to take to personally develop to live the full, enriching life that you intend on living. Now, let's talk about physical space, right? Because we were talking about the spiritual, the mind, okay? But let's also talk about the matter. See, our physical surroundings mirror the chaos that we are projecting within our minds. And the accumulation of possessions, often driven by consumerist culture, which the United Shenanigans has on steroids, but in other places throughout not only Western civilization, but now Eastern culture civilization has a consumerist mentality. But this can contribute to a sense of disarray. See, a new concept that's been out, it's been out for a while. It's a new concept, but there's nothing new under the sun, right? But it's a new concept in modern society called minimalism. And that's a philosophy of gaining traction in recent years that encourages us to reevaluate our relationship with material possessions and to not get overly consumed into our material possessions, to where material possessions come first. Now, in the pursuit of simplifying our lives, we need to ask ourselves, do these possessions bring us genuine joy and fulfillment? Or are they merely adding to the clutter that we don't need? So when you're adopting a minimalist mindset, it involves intentional choices about what we keep and what we let go of. I'm in the process of getting rid of a lot of things that I've held on to that I haven't even looked at or touched or done anything with, whether it be clothes, items, even old files and paperwork that I don't need anymore. Just a bunch of things that are so unnecessary. And the more you get rid of that clutter, the more you gain that clarity and that space that's so well needed. So let's discuss how the joy of less can work wonders in somebody's life. So let's embrace the concept for just a moment about less is more for a second. This goes hand in hand with discovering the joy of less. So in other words, when you're in a world that often glorifies the accumulation of more things and more possessions, more experiences, and more achievements, finding contentment in simplicity becomes somewhat revolutionary in a status quo society that primarily operates in that mindset. And that revolutionary act that you're performing, it goes against the norm. But it's really going to help you to gain that joy. Because the joy of less is about deprivation, and it's about recognizing the abundance that comes with a focus and an intentional life. The power of intention is, I would say, close to the power of awareness. I think both go hand in hand. We have to be aware of our experience, but also be intentional on how we want that experience to be. So it's about discovering the beauty in having just enough and releasing or relishing the moments of quiet satisfaction that arises from a clutter-free existence. And that's where meditation comes hand in hand, because even when you're practicing meditation and you're not meditating, when certain events are presented, whether they be chaotic or sporadic, you can put yourself in a more meditative state in order to deal with the situation with a clear head and bring about the most possible best solution for that situation that's very sporadic or that distraction that comes out of nowhere. Now, I'm not going to keep you too long, and I wanted to just do this quick episode to just touch on some things, and then we're going to close it off here, okay? And just a quick note on a side note, if you're not following on Spreaker, go to Spreaker.com /network of awareness and hit that follow button. And also, if you like our podcast, put us down as a favorite as well. And there is a chat room that people can go into. And, of course, we want to fill some people up with that chat room, but we're also adopting the less is more. If we have people coming into the chat room, hopefully there will be meaningful conversations and very thought-provoking questions within the chat room. So it's built into the app, whether you listen to it on the phone or if you listen to it on your desktop or iPad. It goes hand in hand. All right? So with that being said, let's go back to less is more. So as I was mentioning about this clutter-free existence and really discovering the beauty in having just enough, let's talk about prioritizing what matters. And that is simplifying our lives. It's not just about getting rid of excess. It's about making room for what truly matters. And I don't know about you people, but I felt like this podcast was important for you because I care about people, and I'm seeing a lot of people that are stressed out. And I feel for them. But it doesn't, as much advice as I can give them, if they're not putting out the right intentions on what they want for themselves and they're focusing on what they don't have or what they think they need to gain, that's just another distraction that's not going to help you to find any type of contentment with what's going on. And if there is something that you're unhappy with, like many of us, I know I have a list of them, then you pursue what it is that you want so you get rid of that what you don't want. And don't focus on what you don't want because it's there. It's present. Focus on what you do want. So let's talk about simplifying because that's really part of the prioritizing factor, and that's what matters. This involves a process of prioritizing a deliberate choice to focus on the aspects of life that bring genuine joy and fulfillment, whether it be spending quality time with your loved ones, pursuing a passion that you have that's been long neglected, or dedicating time to just self-care. And one of those things, of course, is meditation, exercise, doing fun things like watching comedies or things that make you laugh, whatever it may be. The act of prioritizing requires a conscious examination of our values and the commitment that's aligned to our actions with what truly matters to us. And then there's a time to crunch. And one of the most common barriers to adopting a less is more mentality is this perceived lack of time. People, Time is just a construct that is based off of an illusion, and it only becomes real because we make it real. But when you're in the present and you have a keen sense of awareness, but also when you have a strong desire to get things done that matters, you can get a lot more done in a day instead of getting distracted and trying to do a bunch of different things. Now, one of those things that I want to talk about when it comes to this common barrier of not allowing the less is more mentality to seep in and to become habit is the fast-paced world where this busyness is often equated with productivity. That's why I remember this one guest, she broke it down so lovely. She was like, people always saying, I'm busy, I'm busy. What are you busy doing? Because there's a lot that can be done in a day, but what are we really busy doing? And are we busy with productivity? Because it's not about just being productive all the time. The idea of slowing down and simplifying can feel like an unattainable luxury when you have supposedly so much to do that keeps you busy. However, it's crucial to recognize that it is a finite resource. And what that finite resource is time. Time is a very finite resource that's based on our perception. And how we choose to spend it shapes the narrative of our lives. So by cutting out the non-essential things, we're going to create space for meaningful experiences, relationships, and personal growth for 2024. There's something called FOMO versus JOMO. These are both acronyms. FOMO stands for the fear of missing out. JOMO, which is JOMO, stands for the joy of missing out. And there's this dynamic of opposing forces when it comes to the fear of missing out and the joy of missing out. So let's talk about the fear of missing out, FOMO. This has become a very pervasive aspect of modern life. Social media and constant flow of information that contributes to a sense that there is always something more happening somewhere else. And you see that a lot on social media. However, the concept less is more introduces us to the joy alternative, the joy of missing out. And this is where you have the JOMO. See, JOMO is about relishing the present moment, being present, right? Because when you live in the present, there is always an opportunity for a new beginning. So finding contentment in the choices we make and appreciating the richness of the current experiences that we are having. Being mindful of the experience and present in it. Especially something that most people don't do is really be present when they're eating their food. Put all of their focus on the food that they're eating, tasting it, smelling it, enjoying every single chew and swallow, and really having an experience with just the food that you're eating. So the concept of JOMO. JOMO is about releasing the present moment, finding contentment in the choices we make, and appreciating the current richness of our experiences. It is a mindset that shifts that and invites us to disconnect from the experiences and from the external noise that brings those experiences and focus on the depth of our internal fulfillment. What does that mean? Focusing on the understanding instead of the understanding, because the understanding is under some type of guideline and rule of society, some type of programming. But when you're understanding, you're going directly to the source. And that source and going directly to it and focusing on it is going to bring you some more JOMO. All right? And that mindset, it really helps you to get focused and really just disconnect from that external noise. So let's talk about how to practice steps to simplifying our life. Now let's dive into some practical steps. And if you want to take some time to take some notes and write these down, I encourage you to do so. And these are steps that we can all take to embrace the less is more mentality and simplify our lives. Step number 1 is reflect on your values. And I'm going to put these in the show notes, by the way, people. But in case you want to write them down, it's always good to do that as well. So reflect on your values. What does that mean? That means take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Identify your core values and use them as a guide when making decisions. And write them down. And if it helps out, keep them in your pocket. Look on them on a daily basis, at least once a day. Step number 2, declutter your physical space. Start small by decluttering one area of your home. Ask yourself if each item brings you joy or serves a practical purpose in your current life. If it doesn't, get rid of it. And consider donating or selling things that no longer align with your values too. Because sometimes you may have bought things, I'm not saying that this is something that people do on a regular, but let's say you bought a damn Ouija board because you wanted to use it. You obviously know that that's not something that you want to be messing with, or that doesn't serve a purpose for you no more. Get rid of it. You got some sneakers that you're never going to wear again. Donate them. Put them in the, what's that called? Salvation Army. Salvation Army boxes are everywhere. Step number 2, also consider only keeping things that you're going to be utilizing for what you're doing presently in your life. Step number 3, digital detox. Now, before I even discuss this is very important these days. And one of the reasons it's important is something that people don't talk about too much. And I'm going to talk about what people do talk about regularly, but I'm also going to bring up the fact that one of the reasons why it's good to do this, especially with the cell phones, is to try to eliminate having time with products or devices that emanate a lot of radiation. All right. And we're going to do an episode about detoxing from radiation, but I just wanted to mention that because I'm going to bring out an episode in the near future about that. But when it comes to digital detox, set aside specific times each day to disconnect from your devices, turn off notifications, and be present in the moment. What this is going to do, people, is going to help you to reduce mental clutter and allow for more intentional focus. Practice mindfulness is step number 4. Now, obviously, we've talked about this almost on every episode, right? Because that's a lot what the network of awareness is about being mindful of your experiences. But incorporate mindfulness practices into daily routine. This could be through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply paying full attention to your surroundings. And we should be paying attention to our surroundings wherever we go. That's having very keen awareness. But step number 5 is learn to say no. Understand that saying no is a powerful tool for prioritizing things you need to get done for yourself. It allows you to focus on what truly matters without spreading yourself too thin. And that is pretty much the entire list. I'll have that, like I mentioned, in the show notes. Now, before we end the show, let's briefly talk about the transformative power of less is more. So as I wrap this up on this episode of Less is More, the important thing to recognize is the transformative power of embracing the less is more mentality. Beyond the declutter physical spaces and quietude of focused mind, the mindset has the potential to reshape our entire approach to life. All right, people? So with that being said, let's get that passion pursues purpose. All right, so as I wrap things up, I just want to conclude this episode by saying that when we simplify our lives and we cut out the excess, we create room for authenticity, connection, and fulfillment. The pursuit of more often leaves us yearning for something elusive, while the embrace of less allows us to savor the richness of the present moment. So I want to thank you for joining me on this exploration and presentation on Less is More. And as we are now in the year 2024, may we all find the courage to declutter our lives, both physically and mentally, and prioritize the things that bring us genuine joy and fulfillment. Remember, in the pursuit of simplicity lies the key to a more intentional and purpose-driven life. So when you live in the present, there is always an opportunity for a new beginning. And don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, because the light is and always will be within you. So light up that tunnel, find your way through the darkness. This is All the Informationless signing off. Peace, love, and light.